Hello everyone. Now, for those who are probably coming to this video, well, my channel for the first time, I generally deal with night vision kits and Raspberry Pis. However, because I deal with night vision kits, the other hobby that I do have is air rifle shooting. Now, I went out and purchased a Sharps Innova Mark 1, which this is my said purchase. However, if I'm perfectly honest, I think I've bought a bit of a dud, and the reasons I'll show you is it wasn't performing as I wanted it to. It seemed under power. So the course was to try and strip and understand why it was. Now the first thing I could see was essentially this part here. This is where the tube that holds and gets the pressure built up with your exhaust valve and your inlet valves has got a split in it. Now that might not seem all that much of a problem, however it is. With this part here bulging out, the ability to have the unit seal against this tube is essentially flawed slightly. And what will be happening is when I pull the trigger with said pressure in the chamber, I will be getting it won't be the best seal at all. I'll probably be having air leaking around here. There'll be air leaking somewhere else along the line. So any air that I'm expecting to actually propel my pellet forward is also getting diverted here. Now this went to the gunsmith initially, and he had all sorts of problems, very random power outputs, ranging from 9.2 foot per pound going up to 11.1. It was all over the place. There was no real consistency, and as these are reported, they're supposed to be quite good at being consistent. So that was one element. So that put a bit of fear in me initially. So once it was back, I thought, well, I've got to have a look around, because he did say that it had been it got way too much lubricant all over the way over. So this is your inlet valve, and this is actually on the Mark 1 the part that can kind of adjust the power up or down in terms of how much you want to pump the air gun up for. Here in the UK you're limited to 12 foot per pound, and then on the Mark 2 I believe that these are anti-tamper. This is a Mark 1, which is a one which is before that kind of legislation really became into effect. However, in taking this out, because ultimately what I was going to do is I'm going to put it all back together, take it back to the gunsmith, get him to put it over the chrono, and then adjust it as need be. The problem with this is the seal here looks all pitted and almost bitten in a sense. It doesn't look right. But also I took this out, and inside here, based on all the schematics I've seen, is you're supposed to be able to have a spring and an O-ring seal and a ball bearing, and the ball bearing is utilised to help have a pressure release. So when you get up to a certain pressure in your chamber, it vents off, and then that will give you the consistency that you always want. So you know that for every single pump you will get exactly the same amount of air in. However, not having the ball bearing in, that's one failure. The fact also that this has been heavily turned gives me an indication that this is probably shot to pieces. I might go out and buy a new one of those. So that's that. The other indication that it's been tampered with is the fact that it's got a kind of slight curve to this. It's worn. It's obviously had its use. I mean, it's probably over 30 years old, but it's not straight. So that gives me an indication that there's been strain put on this, excessive strain at that, which gives an indication that someone's probably tried to pump it up as much as they can. And the second one, this doesn't look in the best state. There's marks on here that almost resemble that it's been in some form of vice, pliers, God knows what over the years, so that is not in a good sense. That controls the length of the piston that is then pushed, so that goes essentially like so. But I just thought that was just some pointers. If anyone who's going to go out and buy a sharp Innova, be aware of those points. If I was to buy one again, I think I'll be taking a screwdriver and I'll be looking at certain elements. Not too sure whether they'd be happy with me taking this level of kit off, but I suppose ultimately is if I'm going to be buying something, I want to be making sure that it is good. Again, I think I got a bit done over with this, but that's my fault. So hope this has been of interest. Yeah, let me know what you think.